85, the state of football. Welcome back. It's another edition. Can you believe it? It's a full house today, baby. RIC in a place to be. Ric Serritella, telling it like it is when it comes to the NFL draft and everything football. Your new home for real football talk in the mornings, weekdays, 9 a.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, don't forget, you want college football previews, you want prospects on top of prospects, on top of marquee matchups. That's tomorrow, the Tailgate Show, 10 a.m. Eastern. You want breakdowns for tomorrow's actions? That's where you're going to have to tune in because we've got a Football Friday here, a full college slate to get to. We've got a lot of big matchups in the NFL. COVID running rampant with a lot of impact and implications there. Of course, it's all brought to you by the NFLDraftBible.com. Go there today, become a disciple, go all access, because if you do, you're going to reap the benefits down the road with some of our future announcements coming up. I will say this. If you want a hard copy edition, there's about a week left to order it. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. We'll explain more throughout the show. Of course, stay tuned next week. The State of Football, Jeff Benedict. I'm finally diving into this book, The Dynasty. It is pretty good, fellas. We're going to try to spend the whole hour next Wednesday with Jeff Benedict. And, of course, we've got our guests throughout the week. But today, baby, it's a Football Friday. I'm going to go around the horn. We got Big Law Lawrence Johnson always joining us here on a Football Friday edition. Say hello to the people, Big Law, of course.
Hello. What's going on, folks?
World Radio. Yes, sir. Say hello to the people.
Hey, people, how are y'all doing today? Thank y'all for tuning in. Hey, thank you for getting up. You know, we had this, we had Thanksgiving yesterday, so, happy to see everybody.
Yes, it was a holiday in some people's houses around the globe. Of course, John Murphy, he was just loving the in-laws yesterday at Thanksgiving. Of course, New Orleans, down there with the Toronto Argonauts, VP of player personnel, multiple Grey Cup winner, each and every day co-host on the State of Football. Happy Turkey Day, John.
Hey, if you didn't hear me yesterday, I'll repeat it again. The only kind of law you should have invited to your house yesterday was Big Law.
And Big Law's got the sirens for you today. We're going to be handling business here. Upset alert. You know what that means, David Turner. David Turner out there.
Every damn game you gave me to pick today is going to be it's going to sound like the strippers coming out at freaking halftime. Here we go.
And, of course, David Turner, three-time AFL champion, CFL executive, longtime NFL scout with multiple organizations. Of course, Friday Night Scout School tonight, Business of Football. He'll be talking about constructing an organization with this guy, Ryan Roberts, the NFL Draft Bible Scouting Director. Of course, Rise and Draft on Twitter. If you don't know, now you know. Good morning, Ryan. Thank you for joining us today. I'm glad your internet works.
I know, man. It's been a little rough with the connection lately, but I appreciate you guys all having me on again. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, and I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving out there.
Absolutely. And you know what? This is for the people, right? So if you're in the chat room, feel free to drop us a line, say hello. You have questions, we've got answers. We've got a lot to cover, so we'll spend a little bit on Thanksgiving leftovers because that's what we saw, a lot of scraps. And Big Law, I'll start off with you. The Detroit Lions, you heard Matt Patricia after the game. Hey, it's one day at a time. Yeah, it's a hour by hour, minute by minute situation in Detroit as far as I'm concerned. Matt Patricia and the GM there, Bob Quinn, in my opinion, just dead man walking at this point. I believe the Lions shake things up and clean out house after the season. Your thoughts?
I mean, one day at a time, meaning 13, 29, and 1. That's the record. One day at a time. One loss at a time. I mean, is it time to take the Lions off of Thanksgiving broadcasting? That's my question to the NFL. I get it. There's a lot of tradition there, but is it time to take them off and designate a new team for this holiday? And you notice that it's always the early game because nobody really wants to see them. You think about it. When was the last time Detroit was on for the 4:30 game or the 8 o'clock game? Never, because nobody wants to watch them. They just want to, be dedicated to this team for some reason. I don't know. Time to change. It's 2020. Let's get it on. Deshaun Watson now. Deshaun Watson made Detroit look like he was back playing for Clemson, and he was playing against Alabama. And I can tell you, Alabama, looked like they couldn't do anything against him or make any adjustments and figure out how to guard him. He did a great job. He was mobile. He didn't necessarily do too much scrambling, but he would slide in the pocket. He did a great job of getting the ball down the field. And, I mean, Will Fuller, looks like he's finally starting to come into his own with his speed, getting down there with 10 touchdowns, had a great game, 171 yards. But everything really got kicked off with J.J. Watt, for them. Detroit scored first, but then J.J. Watt getting the pick, all right, and then turning the momentum, and the Lions just couldn't recover. I mean, Matt Stafford, made some, as always with this team, makes some amazing throws. He was just always under pressure. You never saw him, do too much, and I got to give it credit to that defensive pressure that Romeo Crennel dials up for those guys to keep Matt Stafford and the other quarterbacks just enough uncomfortable to win the game. 41-20, 41-25, was the ending score. I didn't think there was going to be any surprise there with that, but I was just excited to see Deshaun Watson kind of get back to form. I mean, this is what everybody has been waiting for down there in Houston, for him to be this kind of a quarterback. And, with the money behind him, you have no choice. So let's see what Deshaun can do, see how further he can go.
Yeah, and Romeo Crennel, thankful for that noon kickoff start because he still got home in time for the Thanksgiving feast. So he was grateful, and he continues to state his case now for that Houston Texans job as the Texans ring up, ring, 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 ring. We're going to need a bell here, ringing up the Lions on Thanksgiving. Of course, the Washington football team and Dallas Cowboys game, not much more interesting there as the inspired Washington football team, I should say, playing with the loss of Jim Hannafin we talked about on yesterday's show, the Hogs O-line coach passing away there. You could go with Alex Smith. You can go with Ron Rivera. But the Washington, let's not call them the football team, the Washington Inspirationals now, David Turner, are on top of this NFC list.
4 wins. You're gonna call them inspired to have 4 wins? Okay, I guess in the Serritella household, 4 wins is inspiring. And not where I come from. I wear rings. I don't know, John. What about you? I mean, yeah, 4 wins is not inspiring. I'm not inspired after getting.
You're not inspired by the first place?
4 wins out of 11 games is not inspiring. But
he is inspired because in this case he is in second place out of 2 people picking picks every week. He's got to be inspired. He's at least getting the participation trophy.
Hey, don't make me go Jameis on you. I picked up the W yesterday.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, it's just like watching the Dallas Cowboy Washington football game yesterday was like. It was just like, I'm going to get indigestion with this game. It's just so bad. It was like going to, your daughter-in-law's first Thanksgiving and everything is burnt and you're looking at her going, oh, this is great. At least it's turkey.
You did not enjoy the factor that we got to see live, not on a movie, live. We got to see the annexation of Puerto Rico run live in an NFL game.
I'm telling you, it was I turned it off. I'm a football guy. It's Thanksgiving. I had a movie on my TV. I think Bad Santa 2 was playing or something because I was just like, this stinks. And look at McCartney. This guy looks like he's twisted in the wind, like he's a wind chime in a freaking hurricane. He doesn't know which way to go. He's sounding all his own bells. It's like he's ready to hit the ejector button. Imagine that pressure cooker he's been cooking in with Jerry Jones sitting there looking at him every day. I mean, look, Jerry looked like he had Alka-Seltzer ingestion, by halftime yesterday. So it was just like unbelievable watching that game. And, this fake reverse punt thing that he tried. I mean, what are you doing? It's 4th and 1. You're going for it in your own territory. Like, just go for it. What are you doing? Throwing passes, instead of running the ball down the throat of this defense. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I sat there and watched that game, and I was like, this is a travesty. I'm all for tradition. I love the Lions on Thanksgiving, but it's just time to make a regime change there. It's absolutely time to it's time for the NFL to step up and make these teams invest in good people. Stop retreading. Stop just giving these owners carte blanche to hire the worst next candidate. I mean, it's like Ryan in his picking the other night. We did a mock draft of putting a front office together from GM down. Ryan was going from TV analysts all the way down to the college ranks to name people. When there's all these qualified people in the NFL that have sat and waited their turn, they get nitpicked, they get totally dismantled in their character, whatever it is, and then you go hire the next worst candidate. I mean, we can sit here today with the brain trust right now, and we can tell everybody out there, as consultants, we can consult on every team who would be a good pairing for their general manager, head coach, and beyond, because it's just known there's some good people out there. And if the Detroit Lions don't make the move this year, and guys like the Jets don't make the move this year, Atlanta and Houston's already made the move. What about the Jaguars? I mean, we got to start selling tickets, people, and people got to get butts back in seats. And these bottom 10 teams aren't making it happen because their decision-making at the top is so poor.
I would like to say that, I put the poll on Twitter, David, and if you would notice, nobody voted for you because your team was awful. And oh, man, you're getting me started.
If I sat around waiting to get approval from the Twitterverse, I would be more drunk today than I was yesterday.
You're just bringing in old people.
Again, it's about rings, Ryan. It's about rings. It's not about Twitterverse approval.
Okay, I'm sorry. What was the quarterback's name for the Arizona Deville or whatever? That's your guy, right?
Oh yeah, Nick won 3 titles straight.
We are ringing it up.
Let's break him in an offense coordinator.
Yeah, look over here. It's the state of football here, weekdays 9 a.m. Eastern. Brought to you by the NFLDraftBible.com. We're feeling good here on this Thanksgiving fiesta, after party, whatever you want to call it here on the round table. I see a pretty good front office here, Detroit Lions. If you want to hit us up, we can get you headed in the right direction for sure. All right, let's hop over to Sunday. We're going to talk about the Football Friday action in the college football landscape. In the second part of the show, we're going to keep to our NFL theme here. We will start with the primetime matchup, which is a NFC lifeline for the Chicago Bears, 5-5, traveling into the fraudsters, the wanksters, the fugazis, the Green Bay Packers, John Murphy, who I think we are going to get a Mitchell Trubisky sighting here in this one.
Well, I mean, unless they're thinking of activating CFL Hall of Famer Henry Burris, off the coaching staff, where else are you going? And I might prefer Henry at this point, than Trubisky. I mean, was Trubisky ever really injured? Or was he kind of like stuffed in the corner there? Like your least favorite relative yesterday, getting the lone seat at the kids' table. I don't know. Yeah, I think this is a more important game to see how the Packers offensively play against another above-average defense. If you want to learn anything from this game, it certainly ain't going to be anything Bears-related, right? It doesn't matter. Even if the Bears get a win here, they're not making the playoffs. That ship has gone, where it's gone. If you're going to take one more look at Trubisky, okay, I guess. I guess that's, what you have to do if Foles is injured. But I think this is really an important moment here for the Packers season. 6-1 against good teams, and you haven't beaten anybody, against bad teams. You haven't beaten anybody that's good. And your issues are when you play defenses that really can offer you anything, there's points where you have issues. And so to me, for the Packers long haul, you got to come out here and put a 30-plus on the Bears and just, put them in hibernation, put them out of their misery, let them move on with their season, and then you kind of get back, in the throw of things and stay a game behind. Because if not, you're definitely looking now at somebody in the NFC West is going to have a better record and somebody in the NFC South is going to have a better record. Your only benefit is the Buccaneers don't exactly have an easy game on their schedule, this week. And we just saw a team on a big winning streak go to Denver and have a problem. We'll see how the Saints fare, doing that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that Chiefs-Bucks matchup later on.
Yeah, the rest of the guys on the pack, to me, that's, don't get too cute. and if it's a kind of foreshadowing of things, Matt LaFleur, you've done a really good job of avoiding some of what the younger guys in your generation of coaches have done. Don't get too cute. Don't start reading the press clippings just yet. Because we're looking, to catch the lightning in a bottle here and get one more shot at a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers before your GM figures out he can't count him on the cap and you're playing with the backup. So I would not get too cute. Keep to that run game early. Keep the pressure off Rodgers and try to get yourself back on track, because this is a trick game here because the Bears suck, but they do have a defense that could give you trouble with the pass rush, and with the guys they have in the middle of the field. And every once in a while, Rodgers has that game where Eddie Jackson, and having a pass rush causes some turnovers. I don't think so in terms of winning it, but I want to see more than just a 20-15 win here out of the Packers if I'm investing in them long term.
Well, I think the Bears have a shot to win this thing, and sound those sirens. You got a first episode alert, Sunday Night Football. There it is. I mean, hey, Packers, I'm putting you on upset alert because you know what? I got news for you. Don't count the Bears out just yet. I'm not saying they're a good team, but they beat the Packers. Now suddenly they're just one game back behind the Pack, and there's still a lot of football left to play here. And as you guys have seen, it's all about who gets hot late in the season. When you've got a defense in a league where the rest of the teams don't, I'm just saying the Bears are still alive here with a W. All right, let's keep it moving, keep it grooving. COVID, we see it impacting the NFL landscape. Larry Fitzgerald being one of those players who tests positive, so he will not suit up for this Arizona Cardinals matchup at New England Patriots. The Cardinals 6-4, the Patriots 4-6. We still can't bury them yet. A loss here on Sunday might just start shoveling the dirt on the grave. But the Cardinals now fighting and scrapping for their playoff life. I don't think all three. I think only two teams from the NFC West are getting in, and I don't know if the Cardinals are one of them. So they need this win here, traveling across the country here. Ryan, take it away.
Big Law, can you do me a favor? Can you sound the siren, my friends? There it is. There it is. You know, Rick, I was thinking about picking the Cardinals, but then I remembered for a split second that Cliff Kingsbury has yet to get to 8 wins in his over 8 wins in a career as a coach in general. 8-6 was his best record as a college coach. So I'm not picking him today. I'm picking Belichick to outlast the Arizona Cardinals. I am picking the cross-country movement here into New England. They take down the Arizona Cardinals. Rick's Super Bowl pick is looking worse and worse week by week. They just got saved a couple weeks ago in that Hail Mary. They are about to hit a little skid, my friend. They are out of this NFC West race. It is the Rams and Seahawks down the stretch here to decide who wins that division.
Week 12, still trying to convert believers. Yeah, I mean, hey, you want to sleep on the Cardinals, you will see. I mean, hey, I've got the Cardinals in this one for sure. If you want to go New England, you can do that. But Cam Newton is a shell of himself. I really wouldn't put a lot of faith in a big-time spot on Cam Newton. So, hey, listen, kudos to the Patriots for staying alive. I'll give them some credit for keeping it close, but I've got the Cardinals there for sure. Big Law, you mentioned the NFC West. The 49ers, actually, who have won 3 in a row over the LA Rams, who are suddenly now 7-3 and looking to take control of that NFC West. But boy, oh boy, wouldn't it put a monkey wrench into things if the 49ers kind of keep it going with the Nick Mullins bandwagon here?
Well, this is what I got to say. Welcome to the Young Offensive Geniuses Bowl, because this is the actual game that people like myself love to watch. I love to see what kind of schemes they come up with. They want to, and this is a game where you always try to see who can outdo one another. And Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, they're going to try to put on the show, but they do have to win this game. Now, last time, they had George Kittle. George Kittle's going to be out this game. And Nick Mullins, he has kind of turned them around. And I don't necessarily feel like they're going to do enough they're going to do enough to beat the Rams. The Rams are coming off of beating the GOAT, and they pretty much made Brady look pretty pedestrian. And as far as their run defense as well, looked good. So the run defense, pass defense for the Rams, I think they're going to do a good job in keeping the 49ers bottled up. I know that Mostert will be back. I know that also you're going to have Sherman supposed to come back as well. But I don't think they have enough firepower at this point. I think the Rams are getting into their groove. Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods had 10. Both of them had 10 catches, over 100 yards. That only happened the second time ever. Okay, and I think that they're getting back into rhythm. And maybe Sean McVay can get back into rhythm, and get back on another Super Bowl run. Compared. I mean, the defense is coming. You can't never count out Aaron Donald. I just don't see the 49ers continuing on this streak. And I got the Rams by 10.
Rams by 10. I tend to agree. I think the Rams are going to win this one. Too much firepower. This is a team, you talk about getting hot at the right spot. This is a team no one's going to want to play. Don't forget, McVay had this team up into the Super Bowl just a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. Are you going 49ers, David Turner? Am I reading that correctly in the chat room? Are you hopping on the Nick Mullins?
No, that's Ryan just talking trash in the chat room. You just got clickbaited by Ryan in the chat room. That's what you just got. You got clickbaited by Ryan. So, just thank Ryan for getting you to clickbait and bite that lure that he threw in there. We're just talking trash over here with the Notre Dame, guru.
Well, hey, the Colts have won 4 of the past 5 over the Titans, David Turner. Tennessee 7-3, at Indianapolis 7-3. This could be for positioning of home field come playoff time.
Well, if you remember correctly, unlike your Super Bowl picks, mine are starting to catch fire. Mine are starting to back end here. The back end of the 8 games are starting to look like the Super Bowl winning teams. Yours bursted early and now fizzled out.
Well,
I can say it's like certain people in the bedroom, but I'm not going to say that.
I picked the Bucks and the Raiders. Who did you pick?
Just saying, Cardinals are fading fast. Cardinals are fading fast. That's all I'm saying. Okay. All right. Here we go. This is what we got going. So, my Colts are starting to come on. They're starting to get it together. Phillip Rivers is looking better. So that's all I'm saying. Just pointing that out. The Titans, I really am enjoying actually watching the Titans football team play football. An old school guy like myself, I love watching defense. I love watching the run game. I really like it. But right now, they are just outlasting people. They're not beating people. And that's a problem.
The Titans play defense? The Titans play defense?
They play some good defense. You should tune in and watch it. I know you probably haven't seen a game all year. So, you're on your Notre Dame hangover every Sunday, so you don't really watch Colts play football, or the Titans play football. But, here's the thing. If the Colts can keep it up, this would be a great statement game, like you said, positioning game. This is, to me, a must-win later in the season here. They must take this game from the Tennessee Titans. They don't want to go into Tennessee late and have to weather that cold weather there and that run game in the playoffs. They want them coming to them. They want Phillip Rivers in the dome during the playoffs. This is going to be one where I think it's going to be a very hard-fought game. But the Colts, it's a must-win for them, and I see them winning.
And I'm not going to sound the sirens because I agree with you. I think the Colts are another team.
Oh, now I'm in trouble. He agrees with me.
I think they're another team clicking, though. You see how Michael Pittman has stepped his game up here in the second half. T.Y. Hilton getting healthy. The the 3-headed monster. Now, Jonathan Taylor, he regains form this past week. You still got Hines, Jordan Wilkins. You got Ali Mo Cox. Let's not forget about the alley-oop inside the red zone. So I like what the Colts are doing right now. Not so much with the Tennessee Titans. I'm on board with David Turner, the Colts over the Titans. How about this one? Okay. And by the way, I picked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to go to the Super Bowl. And I believe you might see why on Sunday. Tom Brady here, he keeps just piling up record after record, 45 passing yards he needs now to become his 18th season of 3,000 yards passing, tying Brett Favre as the only 2 quarterbacks ever to do that. You've got the GOAT versus the future GOAT in Mahomes versus Brady here. John, take it away. And don't say I don't give you good games anymore.
Yeah, well, you don't, because this one's going to suck too. this game is going to suck too. So you got your trifecta. I guess you get the Raiders will get a W this week though. So you got them. Those guys will get you a W. This one, I don't know. I don't see it. They may look back on this and say that it was like kind of one too many. When you kind of add that extra guy to your fantasy team that you didn't need, and now you screw up your lineup every week. How's it going since Antonio Brown arrived? He might have been a great citizen, but he's also eating up targets. So last year Jameis was eating the W's. This guy's eating up targets. And you're eating up targets from guys who actually do make plays. And you see him get up and down. 2 out of the 3 games, they've had an ineffective rushing attack. One of the games, they had a great rushing day, but they just don't seem to want to play to that style on a consistent basis. He's supposed to just be the conductor, right? I know he's 40, whatever. He's the Hall of Fame. All that stuff is true. Guess what? They did not sign him to be the best player on the team. They signed him to get the ball to all those weapons. Can you tell me how many passes in the last 3 games over 20 yards he's completed? Anybody?
I've seen a couple to Gronk down the seam. I don't know.
It's 0.
I've seen
with 3 interceptions. 0 for 19 with 3 picks. Patrick Mahomes, do what we all do to the people who, once they get to be too old, put him in the old folks' home this weekend. Stick him where he belongs, 7-5. Looking at the wrong way. This is a bad game. This could be a really bad situation. They don't have outside corners. No one's covering Tyreek Hill unless they're playing way off man. And by way off, I mean social distancing, and then they'll be 10 yards behind them. Your best matchup is Carlton Davis on Tyreek Hill. God bless. I don't see this as even a game. I don't see this as being close. I mean, just look what happened a couple of weeks ago, and this is not even close to being that style offense. This is the Saints with the real jolt and the real energy that they used to have. This is what the Chiefs are bringing, and they had no answer for it. And you're going with that offensive line against Chris Jones and company. I don't know. Like I said, I was all for it. I thought for sure, even with the losses to the Saints, that they were still, a legitimate contender. I'm not in there anymore. They're in the middle of the pack, in this group. Yeah, I see that, the Cardinals, forget about their record, the way they've played. I could justify the Cardinals at this point, still showing me enough on all 3 sides to come to the table. To me, the Bucs it's interesting right now where this could go. And I'm also rooting for the loss because I think there could be some real interesting verbiage coming out of this game if they get spanked. Yeah, I don't think you've ever seen Bill Belichick talk as much about his starting quarterback as Bruce Arians has in one season. And if you come out of this 7-5 on the wrong end of a 40-something, 20-something, I don't know. Like I said, I think that Antonio Brown thing, and it's not because of Antonio Brown. It's just that you got too much going on. You're trying to dress 3 backs, 4 receivers, 2 or 3 tight ends, and your O-line blows. There's too much going on there, in my mind right now to kind of think that they're making a game out of this, let alone beating the Chiefs.
Well, you sound pretty confident about yourself, and I admire the case that you state. I respect it. And you also sat here and told me the Cowboys were going to beat the Redskins yesterday. So I'll just say this, if it was only so easy, my friend, if the NFL was just that easy, right? And this is why they play the games, right? Because these are the moments that Hall of Famers define their careers, right? Like, I don't care about what happened last week in the NFL. Here's what I care about. What you saw was a little bit of life out of Antonio Brown, who last time I checked the back of the football card, he was a Hall of Famer. You've got guys like Rob Gronkowski just sitting there waiting, licking his chops. Listen, Gronk ain't gonna give you 100% every week. He's gonna rise to the occasion when you need him. And Tom Brady, are you kidding me? I'll tell you one thing you can't teach. That's experience. And I'll give Patrick Mahomes a lot of credit, man. He's accomplished a lot, but he's got a long ways to go till he catches this bad boy. And don't forget, guys like Leonard Fournette, just waiting for an opportunity to prove all the naysayers wrong. I see a lot of chips on the shoulder with this Buccaneers team, and I can't wait to come back on Monday when I pick up another W in Tampa Bay. Sound the sirens, Big Law. I'm putting the Chiefs on upset alert, baby.
It's every game.
There you go. Every game.
There it is. There it is. There it is. So
with that offensive line, that bell is going to be the ambulance kicking his carcass off the field.
He's taking the turkey carcass out.
All
like
right,
in Madden 1.
It sounds like you guys all have the Chiefs. So when I come back on Monday, we'll see where the cookies crumble. You all got the Chiefs. I got it.
It's going to look like a good Thanksgiving crumble on that field tomorrow.
Okay. We shall see. We shall see. I think you're underestimating a few factors there that, go beyond the piece of paper. And that's why I'm glad they're going to play this game. I look forward to it. I think it's the game of the week. These fellas, not so much. Replay, remix. Whoa, that's serious. Baltimore Ravens 6-4 and Pittsburgh Steelers 10-0. Ryan, I don't know. The NFL continues to insist this game is going to be played on Sunday. I'm not so sure. Last time I checked, Lamar Jackson now has the Rona, and this might just be a forfeited game and a big time suspension or a fine for the Ravens here.
Yeah, I would be very surprised at this point if this game is played, to be honest, just with all the news that's coming out on this one. David knows every week I've been just waiting for Baltimore to get kind of back to what they were last year to a degree, and it just hasn't happened. They just don't look like the same football team. Lamar Jackson has not done well. The wide receivers look bad. The defense is spotty at times. There's just a lot working against this Baltimore Ravens team. So if this game is played, Robert Griffin is under center potentially, making his second start as a Baltimore Raven. I felt confident about the Steelers winning this game, even with Lamar Jackson under center with everything that's going on. I think that this one is a dominating win by the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Baltimore going into Pittsburgh could be a long day. I don't know if Pittsburgh is going to blow them out because that is one of the best rivalries in the NFL, right? It's probably going to be a close game to a degree, but I think that Pittsburgh pulls away and maybe wins by 10, 14 points at the offset.
What you have here is the makings of an asterisk, because now if the Steelers run the table and the Ravens do forfeit this game, that Dolphins team is going to put an asterisk next to that. Hey, they had to get a forfeit to get their undefeated record. So the Steelers, though, whether this game is played or forfeited or rescheduled, I believe will now be 11-0. And that's, as Mercury Morris says, hey, call me when you get on my block. They're in the neighborhood. They're in the neighborhood. So, any final thoughts here on the NFL weekend before we transition to college football? Does anybody want to talk about Taysom Hill? Does anybody want to talk about the rookie quarterbacks? Anything on your mind before?
Well, let's just talk about the Rona situation. All right.
Mm-hmm. It's of course, doctor.
Yeah, I mean, you see it running rampant through certain organizations. You see it running rampant through different cities and stuff now. The social distancing, the mask wearing and stuff. People just aren't taking it serious. We got mask fatigue. People are tired of wearing masks everywhere. But it's got to be done. And this is where I think the NFL really needs to actually invoke some more fines and crack down on some of these cultures that aren't taking it seriously, like the Saints, like the Raiders, like we're seeing in Baltimore. It just seems like these teams that are doing it right are getting angry. Like, look at the Steelers. They're 10-0. They've had very little positive tests, if any. And now this is the second game that's affecting their season. And like you said, if they stay on this roll that they're on, they have an asterisk of a forfeited game inside that perfect season or inside that 11 win, sector of winful games. So, for me, when I look at this season, I'm really starting to think with the holiday yesterday and the other holidays coming up, how is these non-social distancing environments and these families getting together and passing the Rona around, how is it going to affect the back end of the NFL season, especially with some of these teams that the players typically check out when they have winless games already, like the Jets. These players are checked out. They're looking forward to next year. What's the offseason going to be? They're not really paying attention to rules. So how is this going to affect when that fatigue comes in the last 2-3 weeks of the game? Will we see more forfeit games? Will we see more teams unable to field a team like we've seen in college football? How is this going to actually happen? Is the NFL going to see just one forfeited game, or are they going to see more here at the back end of the season?
Well, I think they still want to get paid though. So even though the teams have losing records, they know if they forfeit a game or they test positive, they're not going to collect a paycheck that week. So I think the NFL is doing a great job, and I'm not so sure if everybody on the field is being tested daily and only those who are negative are allowed onto the field, I don't think the COVID is being contracted or spread on the field. I think it's to your point, when they leave the stadium, it's what they do outside of the game. I don't think the in-game experience, whether you have a mask on and, they say they're clamping down. And I don't know how the producers of these television networks in good conscience keep panning over to the sidelines with all these coaches and players not wearing their masks. It's like now, you're single-handedly ratting these guys out. That's how I view it. You keep panning over to these coaches that keep pulling their face mask down. They're going to get 6-figure fines. They're going to lose draft picks. They're going to forfeit games, and you're putting them on blast. That's heartless to me.
You shouldn't be pulling your mask down. The whole point is you don't pull the mask down.
The NFL's talking out of both sides of their mouth. Did you watch the game in the afternoon yesterday? Did you watch the Cowboys game? They had 30,000 people there. He did a live halftime show. Give me a break. He did a live halftime show with 3 different singers on stage with no mask on. The cheerleaders 10 feet in front of him. And he's got 30,000 people in there.
Sometimes it be like that.
Give me a break.
Kane Brown.
Pick a side, NFL. I know, Goodell, you don't know which side of the stick you want, but pick one. You can't – you're going to hit the teams for acting like they're acting. Okay, so the fans can celebrate like that during the game, but if the team who's only around each other celebrate the same way in the locker room after the game, they're getting fined. Get the out of here. Are you
That's
serious?
the Jerry Jones. That's the Jerry Jones factor.
Are you serious? You're not serious with how we're judging and doing things, because 1 minute, if you have the fans and you're showing the fans, I know you're only showing them during the missed extra point of the game in the afternoon, but you see the fans, they're not socially distanced. They're not wearing masks in the stands at the game. And then you're going to tell me because the coach dances in the locker room after the game with the same players he's around 24/7, that's a fine? That's bullshit. That's what that is. Come on, be normal, be serious. The only thing we've seen repetitively happen with the coronavirus in the NFL is the people who are worried about admitting to their bosses, i.e. a strength coach who went out and did something he probably shouldn't have. Cool.
Well, let me ask you this. What should the penalty be on this? Because they dropped the hammer. Who was it? The Raiders already lost a draft pick and were fined over $1 million. Here's a strength coach who continued to come into the building and despite the symptoms, despite knowing he had COVID, it sounds like spread it amongst the team. What should the penalty be?
If in that scenario, if you've done that as the individual, you should be gone. If you did that as an individual choice and you didn't bring it in there by accident, this isn't the Cowboys getting it because they played against Adam Thielen. This is somebody who decided on their own that I interacted, even if I got it through the drive-through window at Taco Bell on the way home last week. However I came in contact with it, if I don't sit there and call in immediately and say, hey, I have symptoms, hey, I think I need a test, hey, whatever, and you're going to have the audacity to go into the building with all those people and all of their families and bring it in there, we should have that guy on blast, right? That dude should have his picture up on ESPN. This is the dink that cost them the game. And I can play it and play back-to-back with RG3 on Sunday and Thursday.
But doesn't the NFL need to stay consistent and find the organization as well? Because even though it's an individual choice, the NFL has put out the memo, and now here's a team in violation of that. I think there has to be some kind of consistency. Like
okay, and then so you're gonna find me for bringing in a dude when we win a game in Vegas. You're gonna find me for dancing in the locker room with my team, who I'm around all the time, and then another team's owner is acting like it's the Super Bowl, hosting a halftime show, and has 30,000 people in there high-fiving each other.
Well, all I'm saying is this is a more serious case than what the Raiders did. The Raiders were in a public event and got and lost a draft pick. They've been fined over $1 million. I'm just saying, as an organization, shouldn't this organization be at least penalized the same?
What I'm saying to you is that's what I'm saying back as an organization, is that I'm over here in New Orleans or Baltimore or Las Vegas, and you're telling me to handle my business like this.
I get it.
A competitor of mine, one state away, with the same kind of corona going around his state, and he got 50% in there, and he's doing a halftime show, and he's got cheerleaders and fireworks.
Well, Godell has taken
corona with fireworks and country music.
Godell is taking the.
Hey, don't go on the country music. Leave the country music out of this.
Godell is taking the Trump approach. It's a team by team decision. Seattle has no fans. Dallas has 30,000 fans. Anybody else want to weigh in?
Well, it's not just it's local. It's the local governments and regulations are saying what they're doing, right? That's what's dictating a lot of this. I think every owner wants fans in the stands, but the local ordinances are keeping a lot of stuff out of it. Okay, and I think that's what the NFL has to fear the most here in the back end of the season, is that these local ordinances. Look, in Arizona, we shut our schools down again. Our kids are not going back till after the winter break, and they even told us wait and see there. So as we're seeing things getting tightened up, I know there's new regulations in Pennsylvania and in New Jersey, right? And so as we're seeing these local ordinances get bottled up, are they going to start putting the clamps down on the NFL with the 30,000 fans being able to show up with different things, with the non-mask wearing on the side? Will the local government step in and jeopardize NFL games? That's something I'm watching. It's something I've said both on our podcast, right, Ryan, and in here before. I think local governments can dictate the back end of this thing of NFL seasons. And to Murphy's point, I think you're 100% right, John. They're talking way too much out of both sides of their mouth. Jerry Jones is getting allowed to do way more than he should be allowed to do right now. Exactly. And the ownerships need to clamp down on him, because again, the Steelers players, their seasons, they've had their bye week taken away from them. Now they're had this game moved. They don't know what's going to happen. It's an organization that's being affected left hand, right hand all the time, all season. We're seeing it. And Jerry Jones is just moving through like this is business as usual. So, again, 100% on with what Murphy's saying. And, yes, with Murphy on this too, the strength coach who came in the building with symptoms should be on blast, should be let go for cause in this day and age. No one should be protected. When you have symptoms, you've been told enough to stay home, to ride it out and do the responsible thing. He came in. He jeopardized that organization knowing he had symptoms, and then he was tested positive. So he should lose his job for cause.
Yeah, and for giving the MVP the COVID. I mean, your job security can't be looking too good right now if you're that guy. All right, let's shift gears, of course, here on the State of Football, weekdays, 9 a.m. Eastern. I hope you're enjoying the conversation here and enjoying your turkey scraps and leftovers. We've got Ric Serritella here in New Jersey, Big Law, Lawrence Johnson of Woo World Radio and 7 City Shop Talk down there in the Richmond, Virginia area. John Murphy, the VP of Personnel for Toronto Argonauts down in New Orleans. Ryan Roberts, the director of scouting at NFL Draft Bible, right up the road here in New Jersey. And, of course, all the way on the other end of the country, right up and woke up for us this morning, David Turner there in the Phoenix, Arizona desert. So, of course, longtime veteran scout experience here with David and John, the Draft Bible Familia with Big Law and Ryan. Of course, here at the Jersey Shore, I literally got surfers walking by with surfboards going to ride the wave. So, hey, what a better football Friday. You can't beat it down here at the Jersey Shore. All right, guys, let's shift gears to the college. And shout out to our chat room people. I love seeing all the usual suspects, Backsrab and Robin, Backsab, and Jesse in Memphis. I got your text. Thank you for the Thanksgiving Turkey Day shout out. I appreciate that, my man. I can't wait to jump back on your show. Of course, big shout out to the Mac man, Jody McDonald, for chopping it up last night on CBS Sports Radio with some turkey talk there. Always got a lot of love for Jody McDonald. And tonight, Friday Night Scout School, if you want to learn how to construct an organization, who better than learn it from than this guy, David Turner, three-peat champion in the Arena League, CFL executive, NFL, Miami Dolphins, Oakland Raiders, New York Giants. The list goes on and on. So you want experience? David Turner's got you covered, along with Ryan Roberts, who will bring you all the nitty-gritty. Dakota Follett behind the scenes there. We've got college football action for you today, though. So let's dive into this one. I know a lot of people that want to get in on the action. They have off from work. They're going to be, looking around and starting at 1 o'clock today. Fox, Big Law. You've got Nebraska 1-3 at number 24. Iowa 3-2. The Iowa team now with 5 straight wins here over the Cornhuskers.
Yes, this is also a Black Football Friday. All right, we'll call it that. Also, it's a rivalry week. All right, this is crazy COVID year that we got going on with in sports. So you got some rivalries or a lot of rivalries going on, but you also got some games that have been postponed that are also rivalries. So that's something that we're all adjusting to. But let's get back to it. It's Friday, all right, and it's a rivalry weekend. So you're going to have Iowa and Nebraska getting at it this weekend, or today, actually, at 1 o'clock, right? We've got a 1 o'clock tip-off. And, I'm always a fan of watching Iowa football because I really like the mechanics of the offensive line. Kirk Ferentz, one of the premier offensive line coaches in the league, also the head coach of the team, is starting to get on a roll. I mean, they have 2 stud running backs between Goodson and Sargent running the ball. Now, the quarterback, he's a bit average. Spencer, I believe it's Petrus. He's a bit of an average kind of a quarterback, typical kind of an Iowa type quarterback where he'll work off a play action, but they will run the ball and they will use their talents, which is using that offensive line to matriculate the ball down and just pretty much grind you out, pound you to the ground. On the other hand, you got a McCaffrey on the other side of the ball, but it's not the kind of McCaffrey that you would think. When you hear that name, it's unspectacular. I tend to think Scott Frost is thinking, or he's seeing maybe a version of himself, a bizarro version of himself, and because Luke McCaffrey, who is the quarterback for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, is not a good quarterback. I mean, he runs, he can throw a little bit, but anytime a quarterback's wearing a glove, I'm always skeptical. Okay, so I'm always skeptical of that. So, I don't see this game being close. I'm looking at a 20-point Iowa blowout. One thing about Iowa, you're gonna think of the offensive line, but their defense is tough. They got Van Valkenburg, Golston, and my man Dixon. Dixon is a super athletic. He made a play last week where he intercepted the ball, juked a couple guys, looked like a running back, and ran it a pick six in. The guy is super athletic. I'm just looking forward to seeing the offensive mechanics in this game and watching them just dominate the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. 1 o'clock Eastern on Fox. Number 24 Hawkeyes continue to ascend up the rankings after this one. How about this? Number 15 Oregon, undefeated 3-0 at Oregon State, 1-2. This one in prime time, David, on ESPN, 7:30 p.m. And oh, by the way, We are no longer. I just found this out this morning. Foxy, quiet. We're no longer allowed to. We're no longer allowed to call this game the Civil War rivalry. Did you guys know that? We're no longer allowed to refer to this matchup as that. Go ahead.
So is it the game formerly known as a Civil War rivalry? How do we address this game? I don't know. And it doesn't really matter because Oregon State, hasn't been relevant in this game for years, and they're still not going to be relevant again today. It is what it is. I mean, Ryan can chime in on some of the, prospects here with me, but, I think Oregon is just stacked up out here on the West Coast. I think they got more prospects than most of the other teams out here. You give me the Oregon game, seems like every week I'm gonna start quacking like a duck. But I can't.
You did
Every week it's like, let's talk West Coast football. David, talk Oregon Ducks. It's like, what do you want me to say? I love their big front. I love their running game. I love this guy. I get it. And then here comes the upset alert.
Wait, you didn't give UCLA a chance last week, and they almost pulled it out. You didn't give UCLA a shot. And they almost pulled it out.
And they lost, right? They still got the L. They still got the tick went to the L.
Give them a chance.
It didn't go to the win. It went to the L.
It was 38-35.
Okay, but it went to the L. Okay, so it still hit the L. Okay, it hit the L. Perfect. So my record's still intact. Yours is still chasing. We got it. But CJ Verdell here, the running back, I really like him. Like I tell you guys every week. I think, but both of these teams have to win with the running game. It doesn't matter which team you're looking at, Oregon or Oregon State. Oregon State's got a young junior, Jamar Jefferson. He's already touched the ball 62 times. He's got 5 rushing touchdowns. He's caught 6 balls out of the backfield already. And then Oregon, obviously, Verdell's got 50 touches on the season. He's got 3 rushing touchdowns. He's caught 8 balls out of the backfield. I think this is where their offenses go. This is going to be a game that has to be won in the trenches, has to be won here. And to me, as an evaluator, you want to talk evaluating the game, I'm going to be watching Oregon State's offensive line, their center Eldridge, and I can't even pronounce the guard's name. Ryan, go for it if you want. But those guys up front having to contend with Jordan Scott and Falalua, that's where I'm going to watch as an evaluator, seeing how they hold up to that pressure, because I really like these D tackles that Oregon brings with them.
Anybody taking Oregon State?
I was thinking about it. Slight upset, but no, I'm going to stick with Oregon. I just love hearing David butcher names. I have decided that I'm not helping him with the rest of my life.
The butcher shop is now open here.
The butcher shop's fully in effect right here. I will butcher a name left and right. I fully admit it, and I got like a disclosure on my website that I'm seriously sorry I'm going to butcher your name.
And then I give John the easy names to pronounce, like Breece Hall, and he'll complain that again. I'll give him a game here with 2 ranked opponents, and he'll complain it's not a good matchup. But this one, to me, is a very good matchup. You've got the Iowa State Cyclones, 6-2, number 13 in the nation, traveling down to Texas. I don't know how many fans the Longhorns will have in attendance for this one, but they are 5-2, number 15th in the nation. A noon kickoff time here. Very, very nice. ABC here. John, what do you got for us?
Yeah, Purdy versus Ellinger, and you mentioned it. Breece Hall might, is the guy that could be the decision maker, of this game. He's their leading rusher for the Longhorns. Surprisingly, running back as they once were, their leading rusher, the same guy, the quarterback. So, the balanced attack that Iowa State has, and here we are. We've mentioned several games, across the season. Here's another one. Tom Herman, 4-2. This is a job saver if you go 5-2 and stay in the mix. Iowa State has only lost once. You beat Texas today. You are in the driver's seat for the first time in 30-plus years to be in the driver's seat. This is all the momentum that Iowa State has built up in the last couple of years is kind of, right here today, because you can put the finishing touches kind of on it in the things that you control by playing against Texas. I have absolutely zero faith in Texas's defense. And to me, the way that Iowa State has kind of built to this crescendo, this is your real coming out party. Not when you're, favored to lose by 20 and you get the upset. Not when you come in and catch a team with a freshman quarterback. go to Texas with their senior quarterback and their crappy defense and knock them out. I mean, this is a statement-type opportunity for you to be in the top 10 at year's end and get yourself positioned to at least contend for a Big 12 title that we've just mentioned 30-plus years since you've been in this kind of situation and scenario. I don't think Iowa State gives this, leaves this, kind of for someone else to come back and take. You got every opportunity now right in front of you, and I think how that coaching staff, has shown us what they bring to the table the last couple of years. This is a very winnable matchup for Iowa State, and I think it would be a very deflating loss for Texas to take another L at home against these guys and then be completely knocked out of the Big 12. But I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
So you got Iowa State.
You got it.
Anybody going the other way?
No, sir.
Everybody's got Iowa State over the Longhorns at home. Okay. I don't know the line there offhand, so that could be an upset alert. Does anybody know?
Very even. It's been even-ish.
Mm-hmm.
If you're early in the week, you might have gotten about 1.5, 2, but I think it was to try to get all the play going that way. And now
Texas is favored by 1.
Okay.
Favored by 1.
So you mean Vegas was playing mind tricks?
Yeah, figure that.
Yeah. Breece Hall, by the way, leads the nation in rushing yards, 1,034 rushing yards through his first 8 games. All right, so everybody in agreement there. Iowa State will take care of business against Texas. I don't know. I mean, I have a feeling somebody might want to sound the sirens on this one. Number 2, Notre Dame, undefeated, 8-0. Riding high, setting themselves up for a shot. Mac Brown in the Tar Heels, 6-2, number 19th in the nation. This one, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Ryan.
Yeah, and it's kind of an awkward game to a degree. Both teams are actually coming off of a bye week with UNC's scheduling issues, and Notre Dame had their natural bye last week. It's a game where everyone's going to want to talk about the UNC skill position players: Daz Newsome, De'Ami Brown, Javonte Williams, Michael Carter, Sam Howell, quarterback. A lot of future NFLers in that group. They have not seen a defense quite to the caliber of Notre Dame at this point. UNC is giving up over 30 points per game on average defensively. Their defense is awful. Gave up 53 to Wake Forest. John tells me you shouldn't look past that one too much. Well, I'll talk about 44 against Virginia then. I'll talk about 40 in a couple other spots. Defense is not good. Notre Dame is going to be ready for this game. I think this is a statement win because they need another one after their win against Clemson. This is their biggest test remaining on the schedule. I'll even give you a score prediction, Rick. 52-28 Irish.
Whoa, not just the win, a big W. Oh, man. David Turner, any thoughts here with the Fighting Irish or the Tar Heels?
You know that the Irish are going to disappoint in some way or some fashion. You know Kelly's going to go in there and try to lose the game. He's going to make a mistake. His coaching is awful. I mean, his is a guy he's robbing that Notre Dame fans of great potential that we could have there. I mean, think about all the coaches that could be there versus this slappy. And it's just like you got all these first-round draft choices. You got a great offensive line, and he's going to try to find a way to screw it up. Then you go up against Mac Brown, a man who's always overcoached his talent level. I mean, this is a guy who's overcoached his talent level for years. He's won some big games there in North Carolina. I think he's going to have those boys ready, primed, and ready to go. Is it going to be a win? It's going to be a close one, baby. This is going to be a close one. It's not going to be a blowout. You know, you got a good coach versus a sorry coach. So this is going to be a close one right here, and Mac Brown might just find a way to get it done.
What do you mean, Mike? Who you going with?
I'm going Heels, baby.
There you go. Upset alert. And it sounds like Brian Kelly will not be coming over with David Turner when he gets the Lions.
He'll be treated like John's in-laws were yesterday.
Big Law, we've got a split on the panel. Fighting Irish and Tar Heels get college football game of the week today. Who you got?
I gotta go, baby. I gotta go with the Heels. The school that recruited me as well. I gotta give it. Mac Brown recruited me, believe it or not. Yes. Yes, I gotta give it to him. I gotta give it to the Heels on that. I just don't see. I don't see them slowing down. The quarterback. I think Sam is just gonna continue on. On the hot streak that he's been on, and then the running game. These guys. I mean, they're gonna. There's only a matter of time before they break out. For another game. I know Notre Dame has an elite defense, but you're not going to be able to stop all of them. Sooner or later, they're going to have to account for the passing of the quarterback, and then the running back is going to break loose, and then they're going to grind the game out. That's what I'm looking at. I know that their defense isn't worth anything, but I think that this is going to be they're going to win this game is going to be strictly on the running game and just a conversion from stopping their passing, their elite passing, to letting the boys run the ball and getting those two studs going.
We got two for the Tar Heels. John Murphy, are you going to even it up?
Not a chance. What are you watching? North Carolina gives up 150 plus on the ground. What are you watching?
Tell him, John. Preach, John.
Doesn't matter about Sam Howell. How many yards did Travis Etienne have against Notre Dame?
28 on 18 carries.
Are you really telling me that Clemson with that offense and what they have with or without the quarterback, I mean, you're still looking at a young quarterback either way. I'm saying if you make it kind of a one-dimensional, it's not a blowout, but it's not, and you're coming off a team that just gave up 53 to Wake Forest. Wake Forest just scored more in football against North Carolina than they will in basketball. I mean, come on now. I get it. I mean, hey, would we like to see Auburn beat Alabama? Yes. Do we want to see somebody beat Ohio State? Yes. Do most of you want to see somebody beat Notre Dame? Probably. Doesn't mean that come on. Get real here. Mac Brown is going to the same place. Take his ass to the dog track. Give me a break.
I will say this. It's only a 6-point game. You can take the points, but you won't need them. UNC, baby. And it's because they can win a shootout and put points on the board. Too much ammunition, too much firepower. I'm riding this Tar Heels train because you know what?
I know.
They come into this game loosey-goosey, no pressure. Notre Dame, all the pressure's on Notre Dame. The pressure cooker of Ian Book under pressure versus Sam Howell, loosey-goosey, Dynamo Brown, Des Newsome, Carter and Williams. To me, Javonte Williams, the number one running back prospect in the nation in my book. And you're going to find out why later on today, actually, in just a few hours. So, hey, I can't wait for that one. Go ahead, Ryan. I know you want to chime in.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, I know the offenses looked real great against, Syracuse and Virginia and Boston College. Some great defenses they faced so far. I know. They're wonderful. They're going to win a shootout. David Turner, I will say, is the worst at predicting college football games I've ever met. So being on his side isn't the best thing in the world.
How you say that? My record is so much better than yours.
David,
tally up the numbers. You can't call it if you don't have the facts.
That's pure speculation.
You're out here Twitter-versing everybody with this off the wall comments like that, and you're clickbait. You're great at clickbait. You're great because you even got Rick earlier today with your clickbait. But no, that's not true. Check the record. Tally the marks up. The Dove train is here. I make it happen. Wins over losses, baby.
David, according to your predictions, Notre Dame is 3-5 right now, my friend. Let's be serious.
Brian Kelly's coaching is 3-5 coaching. Absolutely.
Well, hey, it's been another hour of power here on a Football Friday. Time for parting shots, fellas. We'll start off with Big Law Lawrence Johnson down there in Richmond, VA. He's doing all kinds of great things. They'll be on Woo World Radio later tonight. Of course, 7 City Shop Talk every Friday here on the State of Football. And it was another fun episode, Big Law. We appreciate you taking the time here. What do you want to hit the listening audience with here for your parting shot?
Hey, just want to appreciate being with this family here. Of course, we just had Thanksgiving. Just thankful for everybody. Thankful for, the opportunity to do this with you guys every Friday. Now, something I'm not thankful for is this damn college football thing they got going on. Isn't it time to expand this crap? I mean, you're already going to have teams with, less games than they should have because of this COVID thing. And you're going to have, I guess you're going to have to make a new rule. You're going to have,
sound the sirens.
Wow. Someone's already playing early.
Oh yeah.
He works through Foster, cleans up Smith. He sneaks underneath, and it's an easy touchdown for Texas A&M. I love the play design.
Where's that coming from?
Who's got that going?
Somebody's can't wait to hit the film room.
I'm telling you, man.
Ryan Roberts is over there channeling in Texas A&M.
I'm telling you, somebody's got the clicker
Breaking
back.
down. I'm looking for.
I was on mute, David. What do you?
It's got to be your internet.
On the alarm.
But like I was saying, is it time to expand it? Yes, it is. I think there's finally an opportunity, and because this is a crazy year, 2020 is to try it. Let's try it. Let's see how many games. At least go to 8. All right, and get 8 teams in there. I mean, you got your Cincinnati's out there. You're gonna have 2 to 3 teams in the ACC vying to get in there. That could be somewhere vying for that if you do 8 teams. And and then of course the Pac-10 starting late. And the Big Ten as well. So, how are they going to get in there, if they don't have enough games to qualify? So, like I said before, my parting shot, get more teams in this playoff right now. If you got to go to 12, let's do it. Whatever.
I think 8's a good number, and I agree with you. You've seen every other sport expand. Even the NFL level is expanding, MLB, NBA, NHL. There's been all this chit chat about doing it. Well, what not a more perfect excuse than COVID to expand this, throw BYU in there, get Cincinnati in there, give each Power 5 a representative, throw Cincinnati and BYU in there, give SEC a second team. Let's do it. I'm on board with Big Law. Great parting shot here on a football Friday, of course, going from one coast to the other out there in Arizona, the desert of Phoenix, is David Turner, of course, joining us here on a football Friday. And, just about 11 hours from now, it'll be another Friday Night Scout School, of course, Mav Sports Take, Maverick Sports Consulting. The hit list goes on and on. David, what do you want to hit the people here with on your parting shot for today?
Well, really quick, if you haven't downloaded the Mav Sports Take this week, you really should. Ryan and I went and explored the e-gaming world, and we had 2K players and coaches from the Warriors gaming squad on. And it was something that, we sit here and talk football a lot. And we talk, a lot of regular sports, but esports is really growing and booming. And why our kids are attracted to it is something that really interests me. And the level of complexity that the NBA is putting their money into it, and how they're doing and building it, it's really getting to be interesting. It's going to be a major player in our society growing forward. And these esport athletes, they're getting paid real money, right, Ryan? We learned they're actually getting paid good money to do this. And they have all, the draft, the GM policies, and the trades and everything were real live action. So it was something that was very interesting. If you haven't seen Mav Sports Take, please go listen to it this week and open your mind to this world of sports, because it's up and coming, and it's something that I know Ryan and I were taking very seriously after these conversations we had, because it was fascinating to us. As far as building and constructing the organization tonight, I think it's really key to come. If you're really interested in working in sports, working in football in general, coming and listening to this tonight to understand the org chart, understand how to build the football team on Friday Night Scout School tonight, how these silos are built, who's involved in these silos. The complexity of a sports team is just not rolling out footballs and having coaches and a few scouts. John can attest to that, obviously, being the top of the org chart there in Toronto. There's a lot of little parts, moving things that go on each and every day that take up time, that really manifests how things are done inside a building, how decisions are made, and why they're made the way they are. So I'm excited about bringing this to the forefront and letting people into the building tonight.
There's some great stuff going on. Friday Night Scout School, not too late to sign up for that. Of course, NFLDraftBible.com. Get down on it. And, I hear that the esports industry is actually maybe even making more revenue than the NFL. That's how much money these guys are making.
Well, with COVID, it's really exploded, because obviously everything can be done at home. And then with Twitch and all these other places where these gamers can stream and get paid for streaming and their play, it's really a different world. And as a scout who scouted players on the field forever, listening to them scouting, players in these little rooms and doing things, it blew my mind.
Well, I just saw this week the NCAA announced they will be creating the esports league. NCAA. So, and I believe it kicks off with the Madden tournament. So there you go. You want to go to college and get a scholarship for esports? It's not that far away, believe it or not.
The NFL just also said they're going to play the Pro Bowl through Madden as well last week. So, they're not playing, in Orlando, so they're going to do it online.
Yeah, I mean, Madden, who would have thought, taking over the universe? Unbelievable stuff there. Okay, Ryan Roberts playing zigzag across the country, over to Phoenix, back over to Jersey. Parting shot for the people. Of course, NFL Draft Bible Director of Scouting. A lot of big news on the horizon that we are very excited about. But what do you want to impart upon our listening audience here today?
Yeah, I mean, just to go off of kind of what David said a little bit, right? Like, we always talk about eliminating the fluff in this sports talk, right? So, like, every week, I'm just more and more amazed on some of the things that me and David are doing together, me and Rick are doing together. This whole panel in general are trying to instill a different vision and information that you don't normally see. Like, I didn't know anything about the esports world and what that market looks like. We learned about that. I just had, we talked about Chris Garrett, right? John was talking about him, the Concordia kid, a few weeks ago. I just had him for an interview on Believe in NFL Draft Prospects podcast. We're trying to really show the information behind the scenes, the things that you don't think too much about. And I just feel blessed. And I thank you all for being a part of this ride to instill this information, to instill this education, and to give these people more than what most media outlets present to them and give them all avenues and varying perspectives. I just think that no matter what we're doing here as a staff and individually, we're trying to really put different things out into the market, the unmuzzled sports talk, the real life football conversations, the real life sports world. And I'm just thankful to be a part of it.
And that's why we are your new home for real football talk in the mornings. If you were tuned in today, now you know why. And we appreciate you tuning in each and every weekday, 9 a.m. Eastern. Of course, we're live 6 days a week. We'll have all the college football action tomorrow on the NFL Draft Tailgate Show, that one at 10 a.m. Eastern. So if you want prospects, you want marquee matchups, our pregame coverage, the unofficial pregame coverage rolls right into tomorrow. We're excited about that. Of course, John Murphy will be back at it again with us tomorrow on that one down there in New Orleans. John, your parting shot for today.
Yeah, so tomorrow we'll be talking about all the matchups between clubs that this is the once a year where you get that matchup. Oregon State, if you're hoping for a victory, you get that one win over your chief rival, and it kind of sets up your whole year. Bo Nix, it's scholarship time, buddy. You got to step up, stop living off your daddy's stats, and put up a game against Alabama. Get yourself a victory. There. Texas football, it started off good yesterday. You had a good start. Didn't end so well. Not going to go so well today. Iowa State, going to go even worse for you on Saturday. That alarm is going fully off. Don't forget last year you gave up 50. Last 2 times you played LSU, you've given up 123. Let's try to keep them under 61.5 tomorrow afternoon. Kellen Mond, another situation here where that game is on Kellen Mond, and you're starting to play where, Bo Pelini has gotten out of his own way the last couple of weeks and started to let the talent just play. That's an interesting matchup for them, on Saturday. And A&M, they're right there, number 5 in the country, and this is a huge opportunity for you to stay on track in the hopes that in Auburn or in North Carolina or somebody pulls out a big win, A&M is suddenly in the national championship picture. Be careful. Be careful. The talent level on paper is not in your favor. And the one thing Kellen Mond has done, he stayed away from sacks and turnovers. Be careful. Be careful Saturday night. Could be an interesting matchup there because, like I said, from a talent perspective, if you hold Spiller in check, which they have the D-line to do, all of a sudden, if it's Kellen Mond against LSU secondary and pass rush, it might be a very different looking game than some of the matchups they've had this year so far.
You heard Ryan Roberts. It sounded like he was all eager to jump into the Texas A&M footage there, getting that Kellen Mond breakdown in. I heard you. Tomorrow I'm going to turn my attention to the Iron Bowl. And that's because, we've got to give Nick Saban a shout out. He's not as young as some of these players catching the Rona out there. I mean, Nick's got to be close to 70, and he is feeling the symptoms of the COVID-19. So, we'll be thinking about him and hoping that he pulls through. Sounds like a bad nightmare, right? Like Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street, like this reoccurring. Like, didn't we already go through this with Coach Saban? Oh no, that was a false alarm. Well, now it's really happening. The other thing is, like, who doesn't like a good redemption story? Because of the COVID, Coach Sarkisian back in the saddle, getting another chance, even if it is for one game. You got to give Coach Saban this. He has provided an opportunity for coaches to come rehab themselves at the Alabama program. And you've seen a lot of guys over the last couple years go on and get themselves head coaching jobs. So Steve Sarkisian is another one of those guys, and I hope that people start paying attention to what a great job he's done for the Crimson Tide. And so that's the story that I'll be keeping an eye on for tomorrow. Of course, the tailgate show. We'll be pre-gaming it up tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, just 24 hours away. We'll see you there, everybody. NFLDraftBible.com. Make sure you go check that out.